Alright, to factor this trinomial, it's often helpful to have a little bit of a roadmap. Here's one that I've suggested. Looking for GCF, then are there 2 terms, or 3 terms, or 4 terms? Number 1, GCF, you always want to check for that. And looking at these 3 terms, there's definitely a GCF of x. So the first step is going to be factor out that GCF. If you factor something out, you put it in front of parentheses. And when we say factor out, you really divide it out of each term. So if I divide out an x from 18x cubed, I'm left with 18x squared. If I divide x out of negative 7x squared, I'm left with negative 7x. And if I divide x out of negative 8x, I'm left with negative 8. And the way I check this as I go is if you send your x back in to each term, you should see very clearly that you get right back where you started. Okay? I think it's too much clutter to keep showing that I'm dividing by x each time. We're going to get more complicated equations, so I'm trying to prepare us for that. Alright, then proceeding down our list, we took care of number 1. We have the GCF factored out. You can basically ignore that now. Okay, I'm just going to pay attention to this trinomial here. Alright, you have something in front of x squared. You can use the box method or factor by grouping. I will use the box method. I'm going to slide this up and over. And if I'm using the box method, I give myself a nice big box with 4 chambers. First term goes in the first box. Last term goes in the last box. I never care about the sign down here. And then you have to do some work to figure out these other 2 boxes. Alright? I'm going to multiply the first term times the last term. And that's going to give me, let's see, 80 and 64. That's 144. And now I have to list all the terms of 140, or all the factors of 144. All right. The more you do this, the faster you get. So 1 and 144, 2, 72, 3 will go in there. So we got to figure out how many times. That's 4, 8. 4 goes because this is an even number. So if I double 2, I get 4. If I cut 72 in half, I get 36. 5 won't go. 6 goes because 3 goes in, and that's an even number. So if I double 3, I get 6. If I cut 48 in half, 24. 7 won't go. 8, yep, because 4 went, and that's even. So 8 times, let me see, 15, 18. 9 will go. Let me see. 10 would be 90, and 54 is 6, so that's 16. Oh, I'm running off my page. Got to slide up here. 10 won't go. 11 won't go. 12, you might be familiar with 12 times 12 is 144. Okay, now attending to our signs. Positive 18 and negative 8 gave us a negative 144. If this is negative and it's the result of multiplication, the only way to get there is, make sure I'm on my screen here, positive times positive. Darn it. That's not how you get there. It has to be positive times negative or negative times positive. It's the only way you can get a negative number if you're multiplying. Okay? If these signs are different, that means I'm going to be looking for a difference of negative 7. That means the larger number must be negative. Smaller one must be positive. And what will give us a difference of 7? You work down your list. That would be 10, here it is, difference of negative 7. This one will work. Nothing else will give us a difference of negative 7. Okay? So I'll put in a positive 9, negative 16. By the way, I could have put negative 16 here, positive 9 there. That would not matter. As far as the variables, this was really 18x squared times negative 8. So this is really x squared. There's really an x by each of these. It's too much trouble to keep writing it. So just remember to plug in an x and plug in an x. Now you go through looking for the greatest common factor, going straight up, straight across, and straight across. Okay? Going up here, 8, and if there's a negative almost out, I pull out the negative, negative 8. Then going straight up here, 9x is the GCF. Going straight across, let's see, 2x is our GCF, and with all this, 1 is the GCF. Alright, so these are the binomials, 9x minus 8. Let me see, I want to make sure I don't run off the screen here. 9x minus 8, 2x plus 1. And you must remember this x that we factored out at the very beginning, you just have to bring it back down and keep it in front. Okay? This is the solution. And you can check this. If you multiply this binomial by that one, some people say FOIL, it'll get you back up to here. And if you send in the x at that point, it'll get you all the way back to where you started.